You know, it's about time we did some head work on the CRX. We were checking this thing out yesterday because for the longest time, you know, I guess I really never looked at the head, but I've always thought the head had springs and retainers because I could see the retainers. And I know it has retainers, and it's pretty rad that we got this head when we did. And we're gonna be getting springs, retainers, and everything going in this thing now because we were checking this thing out, and it turns out I don't even have springs in here. I just have retainers. And so we've been rocking it with just stock springs in there and retainers. And the retainers are even flaking. I need to charge my flashlight, but the retainers have a bunch of chunks missing out of some of them, and they are definitely flaking. Titanium retainers do flake. So we'll look into some tooled steel retainers so that we can keep them from flaking and keep pushing on. What's up, Keith?
Oh, that one right there is pretty bad.
So as well as a bunch of little stuff we need to do to go through the motor, you know, springs, retainers, head studs, damper, a bunch of stuff, little stuff for the motor. We need to go over a few things with the car. I've got some 10K springs for the rear. Right now there's 8K in the back and 12 in the front, and the rear just bounces a little too much, and I'm gonna try and get a little bit more rebound out of it from the 10Ks to see if I can just get it to plant and hold just a little bit more. Because I mean, it plants a lot. This wheel did almost, like, it probably did touch on that last pass when we crashed, when it launched, but that was really probably the first time we've seen wrinkle in the rear tires. So I think we're on to something there, but we need to keep the body off of the rear wheels just a little bit and keep it planted and squatted and moving out, because that's the way to just fly. So we're gonna go over those few little things. We need to mount the side skirts and all that stuff, but today I think we're gonna go ahead and tear into the Kraft Werks SuperCharger kit. We're gonna go ahead and get this guy off and just upgrade the back plate. That's all this really is here. Nice little upgrade, the belt and stuff. Looks really, really good. So we'll get into that right now. All right, so the main differences between these two Kraftwerk kits are this old one was a cog drive and the new one is going to be just a regular old belt rib drive. And then a lot of the hardware is ARP now instead of just Allen's. The nut on, where's the stud? The nut on the stud is ARP. The VTEC bolts are ARP. The VTEC bracket actually has this second wing off of it now to where it's going to bolt down on the bottom as well instead of just being bolted on the VTEC solenoid like it was before. So the VTEC solenoid actually used to break off and is also why we're in here now, because two of the bolts are broken and stuck there. So got to get those bad boys out, and then we'll be able to get all this on there. It's got a new little crank pulley gear and new gear for the drive.
This whole tensioner system looks even cooler too.
on this one than that.
It's a little more advanced. Yep, there's a spring to it. This one just screws in and out.
Yeah.
It's got a little spring on there. So this one being not a cog drive anymore, I need to get my Allen wrench in here. And I need to pull the Allens to get that off the front of the crank pulley, because this one, you know, I don't know how it works. Because unless I'm supposed to run that with all of that. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Because that's a double drive and this is a single. But that one has Allens on the front of it just like that one does. But they look a little bit different. This is interesting. We're gonna need to get in here and do some reconnaissance, guys. We'll be back with you in just a sec. All right, suckers. So I got the pulley off down there, and I have figured it out. So I had to actually jack up the engine. I got a jack stand underneath the car. Had to jack up the engine to get the crank pulley off and past the steering rack. But this is the same. See that? On just a stock pulley. And so they just sent them a new bolt with the whole kit and everything. So we're going to be changing this to this. The cog drive would be a lot nicer. This is kind of a downgrade in that sense. I would be nice to be able to put all the cog drive stuff on this one, but this backing plate has one more pulley, so that means the belt's going to be longer. That means everything's going to be a little bit different. So that being said, I got to go ahead and start changing over the pulley on the back of this to the belt one, changing this pulley to the belt one, and then where the true upgrade of this new backing plate is right here, so that we no longer will be breaking the VTEC solenoid off of the engine, off of the head. We have bolts here. These two are the non-broken ones. So this bolt is what comes out of the VTEC solenoid. See, there's definitely still two more in there, and I got the studs out. So these studs we'll never have that problem again, because we have this 14 down here on the bottom holding it all together, as well as these bolts are ARP bolts instead of just some Allens. So those are the few things that are actually upgraded, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out. All right, so I got the new pulley on the crank pulley, and in there, dropping the magnet, got it all tightened down, and so now I need to get this one swapped over to this pulley. I'm gonna need to hold this tight. I'm working on that right now, and then Loctite those and get them in there all nice and tight. The kit came with a bunch of new hardware and stuff, so get those in there, get that pulley on, and then we can start getting we got to put this stud in here. It came with a new one of those, I think, just so we could change it. I don't think it really is much different. It's got a nicer nut. But change that stud, change the pulley, and then we can start getting the backing plate and everything going back on the car and seeing how everything looks. This plate is a lot beefier. It's about the same thickness, but it's just got more plate to it, another pulley, nicer tensioner, a lot going on. So we'll get this swapped up and keep moving forward. All right, so I think we're able to start checking this out. That's through there. It's the main little stud, and then these other ones will hold it up here. It's kind of just resting there. Dang, this is wild. Definitely different. Alright, so I got this pulley off now. Got my Loctite here. Need to put this pulley on the supercharger. Right there. So then we'll Loctite all these bad boys up. And we will get them going in there. And then over here on the car, I've started putting the backing plate on. And I don't exactly know how the belt's gonna go yet, but I had to put it around the crank pulley before I could get the backing plate all the way on. Otherwise, I would have never been able to put it on. So I got it around the crank pulley. I'm hoping it goes up and around that one like that, and not over it, so I can tighten everything down. See that back idler right back here, this guy. Right here. That back one, I've got it running around it right now instead of up behind it. And so I'm hoping that goes like that. And yeah, I'm just kind of guessing on how it's going to go. This is meant for a stock VTEC solenoid, so the bolts are all too long. So we'll talk to the customer and see if they want us to use their Skunk 2 VTEC solenoid or if they want us to use a stock one or not. But the stock one would make it to where we can use these ARP bolts, which are much stronger than those little Allens that keep breaking on them. And we'll keep trying to figure this stuff out. Upon further review, we've decided the supercharger spins good. It's not like a turbo, so it's not going to spin freely. It's going to be a little tight, and I think we're going to be good. Lily says she's about it, and she thinks it's going to spin great. I'm excited. We're getting the belts and everything going back on and getting this thing tightened up. So she's going to help me get this thing done, and we're going to blast it out. So we got it all figured out. The supercharger kit's all on there nice and tight. I just need to get a stock VTEC solenoid so everything will be all perfect. And man, this is gonna be sick. Got to check the oil and everything. Probably put a little more coolant in here, mount the reservoir back up because I had to take it off to get this all in there. It was a little close, but man, this thing looks good. Dig it. So all these clamps are tight, everything's tight. It definitely mounts a little different, the belt's a little different, but once I figured out the tensioner and everything, this thing just went right together, and I like it a lot. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Got another one out the door and ready to go. So thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe down below. This is GoofyBuilt, and peace out.